let me be a vessel. Let me follow the examples of the people in my life that are shining their light so brightly that I cannot help but know that that same light exists in me. And then I stand when I'm asked and I put my hands open and say, here I am, life. What would life be like if each of us lived at the fullness of who we are meant to be as vessels of God on earth? How would your life be different? It's a wonderful theory. Doesn't it feel good on Sunday mornings? Yes, let me be a vessel. Let me dance when nobody's watching, and let me dance when they are watching. And then we go out into the real world. And then people show up in our field that don't like our dance, that don't like our light, that don't understand our light, and a little piece of us shuts down, just a little bit. Am I the only one? How many people have ever wanted to have the full expression of your magnificence in your soul, only to have something happen in the external world that caused you to say, maybe not. Maybe not here, maybe not there, maybe not with this person, maybe not in this moment. I'm saying that the song that you just heard, Let Me Be a Vessel, has not anything to do with circumstances. And if it has something to do with circumstances, then you have limited how God can do business as you on earth, yes? Now that's scary. Oh, there are places where they don't accept my light. We're going to talk about that today. Shine anyway, yes? Namaste anyway. I love you anyway. We're going to begin with a quote by Stacy Charter. I just love this quote. It's been part of my awakening process. Part of somebody, I spent a lot of my life wearing masks. Not shining my light. To do this would have been too vulnerable. So I did this. Who do you need me to be, Bill? Who do you need me to be, Marie? Let me change my mask and put it on. And I didn't know who I was. That's a place of suffering. I went home every single night not knowing who the heck I was because I was putting on a mask depending on the circumstances, depending on who could handle my light and who could not handle my light. Stacy Charter gives us the challenge when she says this: there comes a time when you have to stand up and shout, this is me, damn it. This is me. I look the way I look. I think the way I think, and I feel the way I feel, and I love the way I love. I am a whole complex package, and those that know me, that complex word is absolutely germane to my life. Take me or leave me, accept me or walk away. Do not try to make me feel like less of a person just because I don't fit your idea of who I should be. And don't try to change me to fit your mold. Amy Steinberg is a living example of the Christ who does not make apologies for her life. Many of you in this room have been my teachers, have been my therapists, have been my healers. Mike Stott's sitting over there. That guy is he makes Amy Steinberg look shy. If I need to change, I alone will make that decision. When you are strong enough to love yourself 100%, good and bad, and everything in between, you will be amazed at the opportunities that life presents you. I am standing here today bearing witness to the journey I have made from somebody who was hiding, and the Spirit of God showing up as people in my life said, Ollie, oxen free, quit hiding, come on out, the game is over. And it was one failure and mistake and embarrassment after another to say, I can stand up here and say, this is who I am, take me or leave me, I'm 100% me, and it's not always comfortable. I say things from this platform that are not always comfortable. But have you noticed that we kind of have a mutual admiration society going on here today? Everybody's loving on everybody else. And they kind of stole my thunder, but I wanted to say how magnificent Danielle Wright is, who stepped in for me last week, and she shined. And she was glorious. And Amy shows her light, Danielle shows her life. I get to talk to both of these beautiful women behind the scenes. You see, they're not getting up here and shining without reservations, without nervousness. I've never seen Danielle nervous as she was last week getting ready for that talk. But she got up anyway. And she stood up anyway. And she shared her truth anyway. And she spoke her truth anyway. And it was received beautifully. You see, when we hide, those truths get hidden. And we're a half-baked example of who we are meant to be. And God is dishonored. We've been celebrating freedom for the month of July. You know, I have to give these talk titles sometimes a month and a half in advance. And I have no idea what I'm thinking when I give these talk titles. But I knew that it was the 4th of July in July, so we're going to celebrate freedom. We're celebrating freedom the whole month of July. the many facets, the many blessings, the many dimensions of what freedom is. As a nation, yes. As a church, absolutely. And as individuals on a spiritual path of living wide open and becoming an evolutionary process of letting our light shine. Are you on that journey? Are you really on that journey? Then I'm going to throw a gauntlet down today and to challenge you to be more yourself than you've ever been before. Today we are celebrating our freedom of expression. Look around. Look around the room to the face of God. A potpourri of thoughts, a potpourri of talents, abilities, personalities, and opinions, and ways of showing up in this world. An eclectic and diverse expression of God's face. Turn to your left or your right and say, I behold God's face in you. And then do it again and say, I behold God's face in you even when you can't see it for yourself. I behold God's face in you even when you can't see it for yourself. Even when you're down, even when you're angry, even when you're nervous, even when you're upset, even when you're afraid, I will behold the face of God in you. That's our job as a community. That's how important it is to come here. And we can have that same energy with everybody on that camera right now. We behold the face of God. I cannot see your face, but I know the truth of who you are. And that's what we do as a community. Yes? An eclectic and diverse expression of God's face. It's an incredible blessing, isn't it? That freedom is a blessing. And sometimes it makes the journey, have you noticed this? Let's say, a little interesting. Many opinions, one God. Many political parties, many religions, many colors, many perspectives, one God. That's very interesting. But even with the challenges that come in a community of such diversity, to be ourselves, fully ourselves, the alternative is not one that we accept at Unity. The alternative is to whitewash us. You know, if you and I think alike, one of us is absolutely dispensable. If you and I think exactly the same thing on everything, one of us is absolutely dispensable. We're not needed. Think about that. If we all thought the same, why in the world would you come here? You can have that thought at home by yourself, but we come because there is power in the diversity. And is it possible to have diversity in unity? Of course it is, when we're proving it. And some of my colleagues say, gosh, you know, everybody in my congregation, I can get up and I can say something politically, or I can say something that's radical, and everybody agrees with me. I would last about 2 days in that church. I love that we come here and we challenge each other. I am more and you are more because we challenge ourselves with different ideas. Because we live outside the box of what my truth is and we all grow. Yes? Do we really understand the freedom of that expression? That you can come and be safe in this environment and own who you are and know that you will be loved even if I don't understand you. Even if Larry and Linda don't get me, they're going to love me anyway. That is a blessing. That is a rarity on this planet. Do you get that? We are called to be honest, transparent, authentic, full-on expressions of our God selves. Shine, be glorious. So as we started the month, that freedom is an absolute blessing, but it is also a responsibility. And that responsibility is not just for the people sitting in the chairs next to you, it's a responsibility to the world, because the world is tired of spiritual theories. Have you noticed that? We are so tired as a human race of another spiritual ideal. What we are hungry for is authenticity. People demonstrating what it means to just be real, to be raw, to be open, to be ourselves. There was a member of this church who's one of our top donors. He's moved on. I really miss him. I miss his money too. But I took him out to coffee. And he said to me, and I just loved this. He says, you know why I like this church and why I come to this church? Because it's a little rough around the edges. He says, I can go to 10 churches within 2 miles of your place that are very slick. And only the prettiest voices get to sing. And only the most polished speakers get to speak. And it doesn't feel authentic to me. It doesn't feel real. And he says, I never know what's going to come out of your mouth. And he says, I love that because I know I can trust it. I mentioned Mike Start earlier, you know, at our board of directors meeting, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. But I know I have a brother that is absolutely authentically himself. He shows up. What you see is what you get. Sometimes you like it. Sometimes you wonder. That's a blessing we have here. Full-on God expressions. It's a responsibility. God chose to do business as you. In fact, repeat that. Put your hand on your heart. God chose to do business as me. Together. Feel that at depth. That's not a light statement. That's just not repeat after the minister. God chose to do business as you. You are not a mistake. You are not junk. You are glorious. You are magnificent. That's our second unity principle. The Christ lives as you. Not just in one person who walked the face of the planet, a person who came to wake us up and say, I know who you are. I don't know who you're pretending to be, but I know who you are. I am the veritable essence of the Christ. Together. I think I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. Say it. How does that feel? Try those clothes on. Try those shoes on. Because for too long we have played small, and we can do it in church, and then some SOB shows up on our field, and I'm the light. No, that's when you need to do it more. I am the light of the world, and so are you, you SOB. You might want to use a different word, but the reality is the truth we're claiming for ourselves is the same truth for everybody. Yes? Martha Graham, the incredible choreographer and dancer. And I use dance because I didn't dance most of my life because people were watching and it was embarrassing. I don't care if you like my dance or not. But Martha Graham absolutely called out the dance within each person. Let's put that quote up there and let's say it together. Together, there is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And there is only one of you in all time. This expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is or how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. Buddhist teaching says that comparison is the state of argument, which is a state of suffering. And I spent a good portion of my life comparing my light to somebody else's light, and it never measured up. It was never good enough. And so I just hid. And I diminished the presence of God that chose to do business as me. No, it's not good enough. We're going around this world thinking less than, greater than, more or less. That is the cause of the suffering we see today. Your idea is equally as important as my idea. My spirituality, my path is equally important, and we're all going a different path up the mountain, but we're going to get to the top of the mountain together. And I will never get there if I say my path isn't good enough. My voice, my song isn't good enough. I'm asking you to get over it and stop saying anything that says you're not good enough because you've compared your light to somebody else's. I got a Pentecostal preacher on the board. She's sitting right over there. And I get up here and go, I wish I could preach like Eugene, Dr. Eugene Kirkpatrick. I wish I could do it. I wish I could get up and have the warmth of Danielle Wright, who just exudes warmth. I didn't get that gift. But I have the gift that God gave me that neither of these two powerful, amazing, talented ladies can give the world. And walking around, I spent a good portion of my life trying to be somebody else. Maybe I could be like Eugene Kirkpatrick and move the room. I can't. It fails. I'm a poor imitation of Dr. Eugene Kirkpatrick. Why don't I just be the best that I can be? You know, there's a rabbi that told a story one time, and somebody had died. Say Richard died and went to heaven, expecting to hear the question, why weren't you more like Jesus? Why weren't you more like Jesus? And the answer is going to come back from heaven. It says, why weren't you more like Richard? Why weren't you more of yourself? That's a question only you can answer. Why is a quick road to suffering, so ask it and then move on. Take the information you've got and move on. I've got a song running through my head today, and it's been running through my head all week. Sammy Davis Jr. was one of my favorite singers of all time. And I'm sure you know it. If you know it, sing it with me. I've gotta be me. I've gotta be me. What else can I be than what I am? I want to hear you sing it together. I've What more can I be than what I am? Sammy Davis Jr. was one of the most talented men to ever walk the face of the planet. He was a Christ for me. Not just because of his talent, he could play any instrument in the band. He could dance like nobody's business, and he sang beautifully. But because he's a living, breathing demonstration of everything that I'm talking about today. Jack Benny was on the course with Sammy Davis Jr., and he turned to Sammy and he said, "Excuse me, can you tell me what your handicap is?" That's a golf term for those that don't play golf. And Sammy Davis Jr. responded with, "My handicap, I'm a one-eyed black Jew. That's my handicap." Now, handicap is not a term we use, but the reality is the point is well made. He did not define himself, that he did not fit into the mold anywhere. He was not black enough to be considered part of the black community. He was too white to be there. He was too black to be there. He was a Jew. He converted to Judaism. He didn't have enough suffering in his life, I suppose. He was small and he was short and he didn't fit into anybody's box, ethnically, culturally, physically, musically, or ideologically. Was that a handicap? Hell no, it was not. Because Sammy Davis Jr. had a consciousness that said, "I've got to be me." It wasn't just a song. He lived it. He went into the army at the age of 18. And when he got out of the army as a skinny little guy, this is what he had to say. Let's put that quote up there. Together. "I knew that above all things in the world, I had to become so big, so strong, that people and their hatred could never touch me." Breathe that in. People touched me when I hid. My wounds were out on the surface for everyone to see except myself. And they went after them. And when I got big and when I got strong, I suddenly had an armor. I had a protection. Your hate could not get in. Your attack could no longer affect me. There was no soft spot to get in because I knew who I was. I knew what I was about. And I knew where I was going. And I'm challenging you to do the same. If you are not yourself, then you become a half-baked version of what you think somebody else can handle. Anybody been there? If you're not yourself fully and completely, you're a half-baked version of what you think somebody else can handle, including yourself. A watered-down version of the parts of yourself that you are not too embarrassed to show. I spent probably 50 years of my life being embarrassed. And thank God for the Christ showing up as Sammy Davis Jr. I gotta be me. I've gotta be me. And I would love to say it was that bold as I just sang it. No, it was kind of like you did a minute ago. I gotta be me. Well, I didn't die. I gotta be me. That's why we come together. To be in that mutual admiration society and realize I don't die when I live fully. In fact, let me tell you, as somebody who's lived there, there's a heck of a lot more peace on the other side of that. And there's a heck of a lot more joy. I enjoy life more now than I have ever enjoyed life. And do I tick people off? Sometimes. Do I get upset? Sometimes. Is it possible that love and anger can exist in the same field at the same time? If you say no, then you've got a challenge. I'm asking you to be, I can be angry and still have love as the expression of that anger. What about fear? There's a lot of people that say it's either love or fear. Well, love and fear are coexisting, they're partners. Fear keeps you safe. And love must be present at the same time. I'm afraid. I don't like. I'm uncomfortable. These are important words to express when they are expressed in love of self and love for an honest situation and an honest relationship. It's inauthentic and shirks the responsibility that comes with the freedom of expression we have in this nation, we have in this church, and you have in your soul, God given to you. Why in the world have you disrespected God and said, well, I know better. This isn't something I should show. Don't waste the gift. Here are some things I've learned in the unity movement. We're going to have a little unity recap today, and I want you to maybe refresh your memory about these things. It's pretty small print up there, so I'm going to look here. Number 1, I am enough. Say it with me. Are you really enough? You are the Christ. You are enough. I learned that in a unity church. I didn't have to play small anymore. Jesus was not the exception. He's the example. Number 2, I have been handed a blank canvas called life, a divine idea. The world is made up of divine ideas. You are a divine idea in the mind of God. And this life, this beautiful canvas of people and nature and sky and earth and experiences and religions is a canvas. And it's blank, and it was handed to you. It's in your hands. You get to choose what you put on that canvas. Number 3, I've been given numerous ways to express, numerous ways to relate, numerous ways to create. But I think I'm just going to use the red and the green crayon. Because I go to yellow. I got hurt when I used yellow. I'm not going to use yellow anymore. Maybe there's some, I can throw a little blue in there. Oh, let me throw some gray and black in there. Ooh, it's dark. It seems foreign to me. Somebody didn't like it when I used that. Let me tell you, a painting that doesn't have shading and color and texture is a boring painting. Plain and simple. Go out and look at Amy's paintings out there. That's Amy Steinberg on canvas. Bright, full, rich, 50 years of living and loving and learning and growing. And it looks beautiful, and it is beautiful. And the person who put that on there also had the same kind of challenges that Sammy Davis Jr. had. Why is it we don't see the pain and the rejection that she experienced? For 100 reasons. Because she doesn't wear it on her sleeve. Because she put it out there and she realized she didn't die. I don't need to wear it anymore. The reality is we carry it with us, and that stone, this glass of water, I don't show you. I carry it. It doesn't feel like much right now. I carry this for 50 years, and it's the heaviest thing on the planet. And there comes a time where I have to just set it down and let it go and let the work of art be green and yellow and purple. I wore pink today. I love wearing pink. You know, some of you have been noticing that I kind of turned into Steve Jobs. I wear black all the time. I really like wearing black, but I really like wearing pink. But I'm a winter, and it doesn't show off my face. There are numerous ways to express and create. And number 4, the most important thing, there are people that won't like the painting I create. I was consumed for 50 years with people who didn't like my painting. And so I lived a lie. Some of us are living little white lies. I'm saying, get over it. Get used to it. There are people that don't get you. There are people that don't understand that the painting you're creating is of great value. So what? And then number 5, the number 1 thing I learned here in unity is I get to choose between, let's read it together. I get to choose between the prison of giving power to those who don't get me, or the freedom of expressing the way God has chosen to show up as me. Denzel Washington, another one of my heroes. This is what Denzel Washington had to say about this. Some people will never like you because your spirit irritates their demons. Get used to it. The reaction on the other side of the relationship, the conversation, the table has nothing to do with you, except you've pushed a button. And let me tell you, I got buttons too. And I have to realize at the end of the day, when I go away from this tussle and this argument and this wrestling, it's not the insult that bothers me. Alan Cohen said it. It's a part of me that agrees with the insult. I've got to do some healing work. I got to go back to headquarters. I got to remember that there's something calling for expression. No, hide it. Hide it. No, don't hide it because it never gets healed. No lesson ever gets learned. All of us belong, including the hurt, including the darkness, including the anger. All of you, all the quirky, out-of-the-box, absurd, and unorthodox parts of yourself belong. It's taken me a long time to get there. Here are 5 more things I learned from unity on my path of learning to be me. Let's read them together. Number 1, Our thoughts are our teachers. We talk about mindfulness all the time, paying attention to what you're paying attention to. That's number one right there. If I push those thoughts, oh, they're not good thoughts. They're negative thoughts. And that happens a lot in new thought. Oh, it's not positive. A battery needs a positive and a negative to have the charge. A thought is there. It's a teacher for me. Let me pay attention to it and learn something from the thought. Number two, together, our emotions are our guides. You have a feeling that is a divine appointment. It's not an accident. Oh no, it's a negative emotion. Put it down. Shove it back into the box. And then slowly die and die and die until you go, I got to be me. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm afraid. I have self-consciousness. I'm embarrassed. Those are important holy things. They are guides leading not only you, but when you share them, they bring the whole world back into a place of synergy. We shared in the first service, Greg Raduca shared really openly. We talk a lot in the first service. And he says he has this codependent problem. And he shared openly to the congregation that I really need Richard's approval. Greg does meditation with me. I never knew this. And he shared very honestly to say, I have this insatiable need for the minister to tell me he likes me, that my meditation was good or it was great. And it's so funny. I think of Greg Raduca at very high levels of esteem. And when he shared that, he opened up a field for me to be able to own into my congregation. You know, I really look forward to when Greg Raduca says he liked my talk. That I need that. And I thought it was really interesting here. We've been doing that first service for a couple of years now, both needing the approval of the other, and somebody had the guts and the courage to say, I got to be me. Let me own it. And healing happened. The emotions he was experiencing led us both to a higher reality and a greater awareness that he's my brother and he loves me in all my flaws, my good talks and my not good talks, his good meditations and his great meditations. Number three, together, our expressions, both in success and failure, are our lessons. Study them. We're all about looking at our heroes and how they've changed the world. I'm saying go study the heroes when they fell down and they faltered and they made a mistake, and then make the same study of your life. I'm not the person I am today living wide open because of the moments where everybody told me they loved me. I'm there when I failed. And I screwed up, and I made a mistake, and I picked myself up and started all over again, and I didn't die. But I lived that, and I fell, authentically fell, publicly. My life is very public. Have you noticed that? I sometimes don't have the luxury of failing privately. It's the God job. God put me here, and it's not comfortable. I am an introvert. Failing in front of a lot of people, a congregation membership of 500 is not necessarily easy. But what I've learned is in this environment, this mutual admiration society where we love each other in our holiness, our sacredness, and in our mistakes, is a great place to be safe. Yes? And they are lessons to be learned. Number four, all authentic expression, good, bad, or otherwise, is spiritual therapy. Look around the room. There are people you love. They are your therapists. Look around the room. There are people you don't like. That you'd see them come in and you go sit on the other side of the room. Come on, let's get real, folks. We're all vibrating at different levels. That person is also your therapist. The people whose demons are awakened by you shining your light are your therapists. They're guiding you back to yourself. Don't push them away. Welcome them. The demons that are showing up in you when they push your buttons, don't push them down. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's be real. Let's be raw. Let's be transparent. And let's grow together. It's all there for a divine purpose to lead us back home. The prodigal son coming home. The hero coming home to remember there's a little bit more light than I had yesterday. Bravo. Number five, our mistakes and misexpressions are our healers. There's a whole lot of healing that never happens on the planet because we don't let ourselves be seen. Hand on heart again, I am here to be seen. Turn to somebody and say that same thing. Rinpoche Trungpa said that a community is the group of people that has the perfect right to see through your stuff. I'm here to be seen. If you can see my stuff, if that means I've accepted my stuff, you've accepted it, and now I can let it go. When we're holding on to it, it gets really, really heavy. I got stuff. Anybody got stuff? I'm the only one? I've got stuff. We are in a perpetual learning, healing, therapeutic environment called life, and it's free. A therapeutic learning classroom, a healing environment called life, and it is free. And most of us are wasting the education and therapy because we're embarrassed to express ourselves in our fullness. What's the worst that could happen? You just let yourself stand emotionally, spiritually naked. Don't take your clothes off. So the question is, how do we freely express these things and still keep anchored to the love that is the source of it all? Because what I'm not talking about here is being a bulldozer and running rampant with your bigness. We've seen those people, right? I gotta be me. Poof. I gotta be me. Poof. Love must be present in the environment as you're becoming. Love must be present in the environment when you're discovering who you are and in this adventure called earth. Yes? It's not about running rampant. How do we operate from the love that is essentially and eternally who we are? That's also a responsibility of the freedom. Number one, let's put it up there. Say it with me. Presence. Notice what's up. I'm bringing the fullness of my life. I'm present to what's up for you. I'm present to what's up for me. Isn't this interesting? I've got something going on that feels a little uncomfortable. Own whatever is up internally. And let others own what's up for them and don't meddle in their world. That's their job, to be present. Your job is to be present to how the Christ is showing up or how the great deceiver is showing up that says, oh, play small, shut down. Presence will reveal fear. Presence will reveal unhealed energy. You're about to enter therapy. Stay in the arena. Stay in the fire. Number two, together, awareness. Is the choice I'm about to make, is the decision and the action I'm about to take, founded in a place of worthiness, founded in a place of truth or a place of wounding? How many people have wounds? And we carry them around, and they're awfully heavy, and we speak from that place. So I just simply get to be aware what I'm about to say is coming from a wound. I don't need to say it. Let me put love on it and speak differently, act differently. Number three, together, worthiness. The world, I don't know about you, but I've noticed that the world is running a low-grade temperature of unworthiness. And that's on every side of every aisle. None of us is excluded from that world, a sense of unworthiness. And it may be that you used to be at 100, now you're only at 10. I'm saying today is the day you dump the 10. You are worthy. It's not just a song. Shine. Be glorious. And there's that 10% that says, yeah, but not there. Not here. Not now. The time to heal the unworthiness of the planet is now, and it starts with you healing your own sense of unworthiness. You're doing it for yourselves. Give permission to others to heal their sense of unworthiness. Amy Steinberg is a living, breathing example. When she's in this field, I look forward to her coming here and singing, because any inhibition I have goes away. I'm picking up on the vibration and the energy. Amy, the Christ. Sammy Davis Jr., the Christ. Denzel Washington, the Christ. Be the Christ. Surround yourself with people who will affirm for you when you cannot see it for yourself, your worthiness. Here's what I learned from Jesus. Yes, he said the guy's name. Jesus. I know who I am. Love. Together? I know who I am. Love. I know where I come from. Love. I know where I come from. And I know where I'm going. Back to love. And I know where I'm going. Back to love. He clearly stated that over and over and over again in 1,000 different words. I know where I come from. I know who I am and what I'm about. And I know where I am going. Yes? Can we take the teachings of the man, Jesus, and the Christ essence and just live them? Because when I can bring that sense of love into any argument, no matter how uncomfortable it might be, into every relationship that maybe feels like I need to hide, it will be wrapped in a blanket of love and I will be made safe. Yes? Then from that place of knowing, I take an authentic action. I invite the band to come back up. Back to a place of love, I take an authentic action and I stumble forward and I fall and I fail and I screw up and I make mistakes and I do it wide open. And then I learn and I grow. The world is tired of spiritual theories. It's longing for the personification of what it means to be authentic. And then number 5, let's expect judgment. The fact that God put me into such a public arena when I was so afraid of the judgment of other people. And I'm not what I ought to be, but I'm better than I used to be. And as the old song goes, and I'm getting better all the time. That's all we can ask of ourselves, just to get better all the time. Now, some environments don't feel safe, right? There's some environments that are absolutely not safe for you to be fully yourself. I don't share authentically there because the consequences of that expression are too great. I might lose something. I might lose the relationship. Great. Lose it. Lose it. Why would any of us waste our time and hold on to a relationship or an environment that is founded on a lie? Is it possible to grieve a relationship and love at the same time? Yes, it is. And it is a necessary expression. As you are growing and becoming and painting and singing and dancing and living life wide open, you're going to grieve the people who cannot meet you at that place. But then you become a magnetizing presence, attracting to you all the people who can. Look around the room. I see the face of God, the people that accept me for who I am. You know, the ones that can't accept the minister for who he is, they left long ago. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and I will see the good, the bad, and the ugly in you, and somehow we will make our way home together. Each of us is having our own experience. Do you realize that? Your experience is your experience. My experience is my experience based on the lens I'm using, based on the life I have had, based on the willingness to show myself fully or not, based solely on my ability to be present, aware, and authentically worthy in love. The person across the table, little music would be great, maestro. On the other side of the relationship is having their own experience. Nobody's wrong at that table. Nobody's wrong at that table except the one who's putting themselves in a prison and says, I can't be me here. I can't stand naked emotionally in front of you. I can't stand emotionally or spiritually or mentally in front of you. What you're basically saying is our relationship is based on a lie. And your acceptance of me is more important than me being what God has intended me to be. Buddha, we're afraid we're going to die. I've said a couple times, I didn't die. I was me and I didn't die. Buddha gave counsel to his disciples as he was on his deathbed. It's a very long speech, but not the least of which is these words right here. Let's read them together. Be lamps unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves as the only truth. Life is going to be tense at times. It's going to be difficult. But you're making an exception to where you can shine and be glorious. You've diminished God. We're going to go into a time of meditation. April's going to come up here and lead us in meditation. But I want you to take a moment to take these words by Rachel Alana as my final challenge to each of you. Take a deep breath with me and take these words personally. Make it personal. You have permission to inhabit your own life, to say no or to say yes, to inhabit your own knowing, to love who you love, to inhabit anger, contentment, joy, and heavy sorrow. Permission to stand for something or to walk away, and never to explain why you leave or why you stay. You have permission to have a voice and to use it and to let others have theirs too. You have permission to tell the truth and to let others tell theirs, even when it's uncomfortable. To know when to listen or when to be cracked open. To watch your tender soul unfurl and come to flower. You have permission to be wild, to live in the full truth today, even if that truth is gone tomorrow. You have permission to follow the call of your soul, even if it doesn't make any sense, even if it is inconvenient, even if it only forms more questions, even if it only brings you freedom or a heavy burden. For you are not a herd beast. You are a being of light, individuating your way out of the sleeping tribe. You are an archangel exalted to human, spreading the great arms of your wings into life. Shine, be glorious, full of beauty, complexity, and magnificent contradiction. You, my dear, are a singer of the soul. Never, never ask for permission. I've got to be me. I've got to be me. What else can I be but what I am? I'm inviting you to join me on the journey of the next layer of mask coming off.